Welcome back everyone to the channel. Today I am bringing you a long overdue review of X. Now this is the A24 film that came out back in March. Saw it back then. Absolutely loved it in theaters. You can tell by already the review that I love this movie, so I'm really just gonna go full spoilers in this review. As I said, it came back in March. The Blu-ray already came out, I own it. Definitely was not pointing to this on the wall. I bought it the day it came out, which is the highest sort of review ranking thing I could give a movie if I buy it the day it comes out at full price. This was that movie. X is one of the most fun and scary times I've had in a theater all year. From the very opening shot to the way it ends, I just love this movie so much. You can tell it's directly referencing 70s films. It does take place in 1979, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a clear and obvious reference in many ways. From the way our cast is sitting in the car, to the way that characters are framed, shot from inside of the house, with how they are at the door. Just the overall tone and style, I really love this movie too. It's a lot of fun. The humor in it is really good, and that's mainly due to the acting in this movie. So I'm gonna get into those people real fast. My favorite person in this movie is Brittany Snow. She plays Bobby Lynn. Wow. Maybe one of the best supporting acting roles I've seen in a horror movie in quite a long time. She just nails every bit that she has to do.
Everybody likes sex. It's a gas.
But we're just not afraid to admit it.
Queer, straight, black, white. It's all disco.
You know why? Because one day, we're gonna be too old to fuck.
And life's too short if you ask me.
She is really the humorous character in this movie. Even though she has some of the sexual stuff in there, part of why those scenes are entertaining is because she is as funny as she is. I'm talking about when Bobby Lynn and Jackson are having their scene filmed together on the bed. Bobby Lynn is making fun of Jackson and RJ, and then she realizes that she's on camera and then goes from giggling back to the moaning part of it. Very funny.
Okay. You know what? You don't want my help? No problem. I was just trying to be nice.
You don't deserve to be able to just flaunt it in my face like you do.
It ain't my fault you didn't live the life you wanted. Now move out of the way, please.
Mia Goth is the main character of the movie. She plays Maxine. I like Maxine in this movie. I think Mia Goth does a really good job with this role specifically. And if you did not know during your first time watching, or if you didn't watch the credits, Mia Goth does play two different characters in this movie. She does play Pearl, one of the antagonists. There's a bunch of makeup on her to make that happen. I didn't realize that that was not an old lady. I couldn't believe that when I found that out afterwards. It was pretty surprising to me because I bought into it completely. Same with Howard. Did not expect Howard to be played by someone 10-ish years younger, 15 years younger. I don't really know how old that actor is. So Stephen Uri, who plays Howard, is 66, I think. When they filmed this movie, take 2 years off, it was 2020 when they filmed it, so 64. And he's playing someone in their late 70s. Great job, great stuff. You scared me. Not really scared me, but you made me super uncomfortable, Howard. I like you a lot. Same with Pearl. I really like Pearl. What's crazy about this movie is that what Mia Goth and Stephen Uri bring to their roles make these characters so sad and kind of likable, but very sympathetic characters. And you understand why they decide to kill these people, why they have a sex slave in their basement, why they feel the way about their lives with how old they are now. Kid Cudi is maybe the heart of the movie. He plays Jackson. Whether or not that was a prosthetic, who knows? I'm very thankful no matter what that was in this movie. Thank you so much, Ty West, for putting that in this film. But even though that makes your blood pumping, there are all the other sex scenes in this movie, and they aren't as explicit or overwhelming as other horror movies make theirs. These are very plot specific and they're intercut with actual scenes that are going on elsewhere. And whether it's not even a sex scene, the scenes of the porno they're shooting are intercut with, like, say, Pearl and Maxine having their lemonade talk. That's going to be Bobby Lynn and Jackson having their lemonade talk. That's interweaved with the editing. Owen Campbell plays RJ, and I think this is the character I probably relate to the most as someone who loves film myself, and probably closer to the age of RJ most than anyone else in this movie. I totally get the want to, even though you're making basically an adult snuff film, that you can make it nice and artistic and be this film auteur, but have people filming sex, you know? I don't agree with the way he reacts to Jenna Ortega wanting to film a scene herself for this film.
I want to do a scene in the movie.
What?
But I kind of understand, you know, she's his girlfriend. He goes about it the wrong way. He should have said, no, you're my girlfriend. This is uncomfortable for me. We just had this huge talk with everyone in this cast about how they're able to differentiate sex and then their love and relationships, and I'm not comfortable with that yet. But instead, he just goes, no, this is my movie. And then later on to Wayne, he's talking about how that Lorraine is better than Maxine and Bobby Lynn. So that was definitely the wrong way to go. Jenna Ortega plays Lorraine. I really like how quiet this character is. It's a lot different than the Jenna Ortega horror stuff that we've seen from her before. Of course, she gets the classic scream in this movie that's all over posters and the Blu-ray backing. The face acting this woman can do, incredible. I was blown away, and her death is so sudden, and it makes sense that the turn of her character from her wanting to be sort of like Maxine and Bobby Lynn and then getting locked in this dungeon basement, seeing this dude put on the wall, getting her hand fucked up because she was trying to hatchet her way out of the basement. But then her blaming all of the events on Maxine and essentially the people who want to make this porn movie. That's why she gets killed. She runs away and gets half her face blown off. So the cinematography in this movie is very 70s horror movies. Like I said, it's very reminiscent of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's a lot of really patient shots. I like how the beginning of this movie tricks you into thinking that we're going with a 4:3 aspect ratio, and instead, nope, it's gonna be full screen. I love it when horror movies give you a full screen effect. Like, I don't mind it when movies do this aspect ratio, but I would much rather have the full screen effect. This movie is really scary. I had such a good time both times I watched this movie in theaters, and then a week and a half ago when I rewatched this to prepare for this video, and Pearl, which just came out in theaters. I'm gonna put that video out in a couple days, so be on the lookout for that. What gets me the most in this movie is when Maxine goes skinny dipping in this lake pond thing, and it's this really big, tall, wide shot of the entire lake. You see before that there's an alligator. It just gives you this big, wide shot, and then Maxine starts swimming towards the dock, and then out from the edge of the frame, you see the alligator start making its way through, and it's such a good scare. It's such good tension. I was frightened. I didn't know what was gonna happen that first time I saw it. I was like, wow, is this how they're gonna take someone out this fast? I think this movie does a great job with its gore. What happens with RJ and Pearl just stabbing into his neck a million bajillion times. And then later on you see that he got decapitated from all the neck stabs. Incredible. Disgusting. When Pearl gets her head blown up by Maxine running it over, it's just a red pumpkin at that point. Like, that's probably what they did, and it was practical, it had to be. That was shocking and brutal. Wayne's eyes getting taken out of his skull, the way Jenna Ortega's face gets blown apart, and the hand gore that happens to her. Those are really the big gory stuff. Bobby Lynn gets death rolled by the alligator, but I don't really think there's a specific like gory moment. You do see the death roll happening, and you see Bobby Lynn's body, you know, essentially being tossed around, and I think maybe it takes her head off, but that's all underwater. I can't really say for sure. So that's just like the sprinkles on this movie. The meat and potatoes of why I really enjoy this movie is what it's about. The themes of aging and existentialism and wanting to live the life you want to live, and afraid of death in that sense, that you feel bad that you live this life you're not happy about.
I'm nothing like you.
You're a kidnapping, murdering sex fiend. I'm a fucking star. The whole world is gonna know my name.
Say it now.
I will not accept a life I do not deserve.
I do not deserve.
It's kind of gut-wrenching and it's really sad. Especially with Pearl and Howard, you really feel for these characters. In the third act, they have this extended conversation about how old they are and the fact that Howard can't have sex the way he used to have. And that Pearl just wants this validation from her husband again. Like, I feel for these characters. I don't like them in the sense that I don't think having a sex slave in your basement and then killing a bunch of people is a good thing. But I feel for them. I understand why they're doing what they're doing. And these are things I personally am very scared about. Death is something I am afraid of. Existential movies get me to tear up so fast. I think that's why I love Soul and Up so much Pixar-wise. And then with this movie, I love these characters so much. I have so much fun with them. When I first walked out of the movie in the theater, I was kind of bummed with the ending. You know, I wanted more of them to survive. On a rewatch and being able to like think about these characters more, I'm very grateful for the time I got to spend with them. And it makes sense what happens to each character, why it happens to them. And the movie sets very specific things up for how some characters are gonna die. You know, with Wayne's eye popping out of his skull and him talking about how people's eyes are gonna pop out of their head with the porno they're shooting. Bobby Lynn walking out of the Gator building at the beginning of the movie. It's a very tight script in that way, and I really think this movie is written very well. I mean, you have your Chekhov moments with the Gator and all that, but that's the sense of good writing, that it wasn't just something randomly put in the movie for one scene and then forgotten about later. Everything has its purpose. The production design, I love how this house looks for 70s. It's very 70s. And I just love this movie in general. I think it's really fun. I think it's frightening. I think it's a deeper movie that can still be really scary, and I enjoy the full runtime of it. I think it's a little cheesy, has some meta moments here and there, but on the whole, I really enjoyed X, and I'm gonna give it a 10. The more I think about this movie, the more I appreciate it, the more I want to rewatch it. It's a very comforting, scary movie. Like, I don't feel used by the movie. Like, it's nothing gross or disturbing. It's just fun horror that makes you feel things. And that's what makes a great movie. So that is going to be the end of my review for X. Don't forget to check back in a few days for my review of Pearl. Have you seen X? What did you think about it? Leave a comment down below with your thoughts. If you like this video, give it a like. And if you want to see more of my videos, please hit subscribe. I really hope you've been enjoying my return back to making videos. I've been having a lot of fun. The energy I'm feeling with them has been great. So yeah, I'm gonna keep making them. We're getting into October soon. So I have a bunch of movies I plan to cover that are on my shelves right here. I can't wait to do that. But until then, I will see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.